This video is going to show us how to use the technique where you analyze a subset of the data, where you only look at certain respondents that have certain profiles or characteristics that you're interested in. As you see here, this is the survey again that you took in class, asking a variety of questions. Now let's imagine that you were interested in focusing on students that had high GPA or low GPA, as we just recoded this variable. Perhaps you're interested in students of certain hair color, perhaps even interested in a particular gender or political affiliation. You can select just Democrats or just females or just independents and run certain kinds of analysis on that group of people. So imagine the marketing research implications of your ability to be able to look particularly at a small segment and analyze their behaviors and tendencies and characteristics. We won't use this technique much in our class for this project with only 100 or so responses on our surveys. We just don't have enough data in order to analyze subsets of the data, but this is a very important technique for you to be aware of and know how to use if and when you find yourself in a situation where you have a lot of data and you'd like to analyze just a particular subset. So what we do in SPSS in order to make this happen is we go to the link for Analyze. Or I'm sorry, we go to Data and we look for Select Cases down here near the bottom, and we identify whatever variable that we're interested in. Let's scroll down here to political affiliation and select a particular category. So we select political affiliation as the variable that we're interested in. We're going to click this button of if condition is satisfied is what we're going to really be focusing on for the political affiliation. And then what we do is we click on the if button. Okay, here's where we select this political affiliation. We push it over here in order to indicate to SPSS that's a question that we're interested in. Now, as you may recall, the survey that we looked at has political affiliation. The responses of 1 indicate Democrats, 2 is Republicans, 3 is Independents, and 4 is Other. Let's focus on just Democrats. So all the people that responded with a response of 1 for this particular question are the Democrats that we're focusing on. So we'd like question 15, the response for question 15, to be equal to 1. That's going to tell SPSS we only want the Democrats. If we wanted Democrats and Republicans, we could say a mathematical formula, something to the effect of question 15 is less than or equal to 2, which would grab both Democrats and Republicans, since those would be responses for a 1 or a 2. But in this case, we're looking at just Democrats, and so we are focusing on those responses where question 15 equals 1, and then we say continue and OK. And what we see here is a note. We're pushed to our output file, and we see a little note here that shows what we've done. We've recoded question 5. This was showing what we did last time with the recoding. And then down here we see the filter that we just did of question 15 equals 1. This is the filter that any others were not selected, so it's letting us know that we did that. This is a nice reality check, but the place that I like to really focus on so you can see what's happening is where you see the data view with all of your data. Look over here on the far left column. You see all these lines crossing through. What we're seeing here, if I pull this over for a minute, you'll see that question 15 relates to political affiliation. All of the responses that are 2s and 3s, which relate to Republicans and Independents and 4 as Others, they're all crossed out, indicating from SPSS that this row of data is no longer being included in our data set. The 1s, notice they're still open, so those are included. All of the 1s don't have a line crossing out the number. So this is an indication that we've selected just a particular subset of the data. We can run along and do various types of analysis. Let's just run a frequency table just so you can see. We'll look at the frequency, satisfaction, or the importance of exercise frequency table, but this, remember, we're looking just at Democrats in our sample, and you see here is there's 31. The N with valid number tells us there's 31 people that fit this category, 31 Democrats who answered this question, and this is the frequency table for those 31 Democrats and the importance of exercise. That 11 said it's very important, 15 said it's important, 4 were neutral, and 1 was very unimportant. And so you see the breakdown of the percentages of how important exercise is to the Democrats in our sample. You could run any type of analysis that you'd like once you've selected this particular subset of the data. As you do this technique, it's very useful and helpful and can be very insightful when you have a much larger data set. The one reminder that I would like to give you is make sure that you at some point go back and unselect all these particular particular cases, so you don't continue to just run data on the Democrats. And the way that you do that is you go back to data, select cases, and then you just tell SPSS that instead of doing this if condition statement, we're going to select the button that says all cases, telling SPSS that we want to go back to the situation of all cases. It tells us here in the output table that the filter is now off. If we look into our data view, we see that all of the numbers are open and no longer crossed out, so our full data set is open. If we did a frequency table on the importance of exercise at this point, you would see that we no longer have, as we saw just a minute ago, 31 responses. Now we have 100 responses, and you see the breakdown of the 100 people that responded to the survey, which includes all political affiliations in the sample. Again, it's a very valuable technique. We won't use it a lot in our sample given our small sample sizes, but it's something that's very important for you to be familiar with.